Welcome to MusiCity Kids. My name is Tamara with Love in a Big World, and I am so glad you're here. We want to help you grow strong in mind, body, and heart. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference we can make when we get involved in our community. And you know what? That's what Love in a Big World is all about. Love in a Big World is being changed by love and making a positive difference by choosing to love. Loving ourselves, loving others, and loving everyone in this big world. Did you know that you can change the world for good? You can. You can do that by choosing to love. And love is patient, kind, faithful, true, understanding. So many good things that we've been talking about here on MusiCity Kids. Now, you know, this is a very special time here in the United States. We are 1 week away from the election. And I want to read you a piece of the Declaration of Independence that was signed by our forefathers on July 4th, 1776. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, you know, back in 1776, they only thought of the men. But we would change this to say, all men and women are created equal. And all of us have certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, get up and get ready to move. That's going to make your body happy today.
Hey friends, it's Riki here with Be Well in School. And I'm here to continue with our sequence of we're learning poses to build a sequence. So far, we have learned mountain pose, warrior 1, warrior 2, and today we're going to learn peaceful warrior. And we're actually going to learn it through a sequence. So we're going to put all those poses we have learned together, and we're going to end by learning our new pose, peaceful warrior. So you're going to have to use the mindful listening today to follow my cues from Warrior 2 to get into Peaceful Warrior. And this is an awesome pose. It helps us stretch our side bodies. So you're gonna get some nice stretches in your whole side body. It opens up your ribs and any tension we have in our midsection so that we can take deeper breaths. It builds strength in our quads, our thighs. It builds strength in our arms and in our neck. And it stretches the inner thighs. It stretches the hips. And it stretches your side abdominal muscles called the obliques. It energizes the body and it improves blood flow. So let's dive in and let's learn Peaceful Warrior today. All you need is your body and your breath. You can use a mat, a towel, a blanket, whatever you got. Cool? Let's meet up on our mats. So, top of your mat, mountain pose, feet are hips width. We reach down through our fingers. I'm gonna demo on the left side. You're gonna do the right side on your own to keep the body balanced. Cool? Cool. Left foot, big step back. My feet are still about hips width distance though because I'm setting up for warrior 1. So those back toes are slightly out, 45 degrees, pressing through the blade edge. Bending deep in my front knee. Front toes point forward, so do my hips and so do my shoulders. Reach the arms up. Take a deep breath in and exhale, settle in your shape. Bend your knee. And here with Peter Reynolds, we say, I can stand up for me. Your turn. Beautiful. Now take a deep breath in, reach through your fingers. Exhale, we press them out and we find our warrior 2. And I'm moving my front foot just a bit so I find that heel to arch alignment that we talked about when we learned warrior 2. Reach through your fingers, look over the front fingers, and here we say, I can stand up for others. Your turn. Beautiful. In your warrior 2 now, we're cueing for peaceful warrior. So listen and follow me. Left hand comes down to your back thigh. Flip the front palm up. Reach up towards the sky and we find peaceful warrior. And here with Peter Reynolds, we say, from his book, I Am Yoga, I can stand up for peace. Your turn. Beautiful. Now we're gonna bring our hips back to warrior 2 to come out of this. And we're gonna step forward to our mountain pose. There you go with your little warrior sequence. I can't wait to add on. Next time we're learning warrior 3. Tune in next time to learn more. Enjoy flowing. I love you all. I miss you all. Have a beautiful day.
Thanks, Riki. Now here's a special message from Erika about how we can get involved with our community.
Hi, MusiCity Kids. I'm so excited to be joining you today. You know, the times that we're living in right now can be really complicated and very confusing, and there's a lot happening. But here's the good news. You don't have to figure this out alone. You know what I do when something feels a little overwhelming or confusing or I'm not sure where to go? I decide to use what I call a spirit of curiosity. And what that means is I get really, really curious about what's happening, and I ask lots of questions. And I sort of go on a little treasure hunter discovery for myself. So here are some suggestions. Let's think about what we can read that can help us discover and unearth some answers about what's going on in the world around us and really help us frame or gain a better understanding. A couple books that I would suggest include Rosa by Nikki Giovanni. She's one of my favorite authors, as well as Through My Eyes, which is actually by Ruby Bridges. You should do a little research and figure out who Ruby Bridges is. You may find out that you have quite a bit in common with her. Speaking of Ruby, one of my favorite things to do is to look around the landscape that I live in, my city, my community, my neighborhood, and figure out what are some of those things that I can get really curious about. Here's a thought. Go on a scavenger hunt with your family or friends. Especially here locally, there are a couple things that I can think of that I think would be really, really helpful for you to discover. Have you ever heard of Luby Library? Do you know who Alexandra Luby is? Maybe it's some time to do a little research. Have you heard of Pearl Cone High School? Did you know that Pearl Cone High School actually used to be 2 different schools, Pearl School and Cone School, that actually combined to create Pearl Cone School? You may see that that has a lot in common with Ruby Bridges. So let's get curious about the world around us. I know it can feel overwhelming, but maybe with a few questions and some supporting adults around you, we can answer those together. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is about some of the riots and some of the gatherings and protests that you've been seeing in our community. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of questions. But you know what? Dr. Martin Luther King said, a riot is the language of the unheard. So what does that mean? There must be people within our community whose voices are not being heard right now. And these demonstrations, the protests, and sometimes even the things that don't look so great that we see on the news are an opportunity for their voices to be heard. You know, another way that our voices can be heard? We can write letters to our city council. As a matter of fact, last night, our community showed up by the hundreds at a city council meeting that ended up lasting almost 12 hours. Can you imagine how exciting it must be for your neighbors, your community members, for your teachers, for your parents to be so concerned about the world that you're living in that they're willing to advocate and amplify their voices for 12 hours? And you can do the same. Won't you start today by writing a letter to your city council representative? If you don't know who that person is, this is a great time to get curious. Ask your parents or any other adults that may be around you to help you find out who your city council representative is. Their job is to make sure that your voice is heard and reflected in the decisions that they make in our community every single day. So here's a chance for you to amplify or to raise up your voice by writing a letter to your city council member or our mayor. I hope these tips really help, and please understand that you don't have to navigate through the world around you by yourself. We are all here to help.
Thanks, Erika. Now it's time for some fun with science and Janet of Janet's Planet.
Welcome to Janet's Planet, where we're traveling at the speed of thought. And soon it is going to be Halloween, where we will experience a blue moon. No, it won't actually be blue. All that means that it is the second full moon in a single month. And in honor of this great occasion, how about we make some galactic candied apples? Yes, indeed. All you gotta do is grab a bag of Jolly Ranchers, and in honor of the blue moon, it's like we're gonna make blue candied apples, and you might see a few sprigs of green in there. We might add it to make it a little bit alien and spooky. And the other thing that you're gonna wanna do is we found these little sparkles and stuff, so we may even try to star up and make our little galactic candied apples even more galactic. Now, I've already preheated my oven, so I'm gonna put this in here, set it on bake, 450 degrees. I'm gonna slide that in there. We'll wait about 5 minutes, and then we will dip our apples. Now, one of the things that you want to make sure and do is prepare your apples. So all you want to do is be sure and de-stem them. Just twist that out. You can take popsicle sticks just like this, and voila, we are ready to dip and make a galactic candied apple. Now, I also highly advise getting some parchment paper and putting it inside your pan just like so. Now, that will keep those candied apples from actually sticking to our pan. And we want them to be beautiful and galactic, I mean. So, let's see what happens when we take this out of the oven and dip our apples. It's really bubbling. So make sure that you and your grown-up use oven mitts. You take a lot of caution. Turn the oven back off when you are not using it. So we're just gonna, oh yeah. Now, we're gonna see if we can make it super galactic. Do a little sprinkle action in there. All right, now, all you're gonna do is take your apple and begin, oh, look at there. Oh, I'm loving how this is looking. Oh, indeed, super galactic fun. I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of this so we get all the way up to that popsicle stick that we put there. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. I mean, that's kind of like lovely enough as it is with all of the, oh, I think I see constellations in this galactic apple. So super great. Let your mind revolve around this thought. Celebrate the blue moon this Halloween with galactic candied apples. And that's the view from Janet's Planet.
Welcome to Janet's Planet, where we're traveling at the speed of thought.
That was great. Thanks, Janet. And now we've got some music from Calvin Rogers. Take a listen.
Hi, my name is Calvin Rogers, and this is my song titled Forest. Thank you. Hope you enjoy it.
Today we're talking about love in a big world, how we can be changed by love and how we can make a difference in our big world by choosing to love. And I want to tell you a very important story about a little girl named Ruby Bridges. You can read a book about her by Robert Coles. Ruby Bridges was the first Black child to attend an all-white school. By choosing to love instead of hate, even when the people in her town were threatening her and her family, Ruby changed America, and she changed history. Now, in our world today, there are a lot of people who are saying mean things to each other because of the color of their skin, or because of their political beliefs, or because of their faith. That needs to stop. You and I need to love one another no matter what. You know, I was telling my kids just this weekend, after we had a family conversation at the dinner table that got rather heated, I said, you know, it's okay for us to believe different things. It's okay for us to have different ideas than each other, but we've got to figure out how to communicate and not let our love grow cold for each other. That's how we can make a difference. And so I want to encourage you, friends, to keep talking. Keep asking questions of your family members, of your siblings, of your teachers. Keep the conversation going. Don't keep it all locked inside your head or your heart. Talk about it. And you can talk to us too here at MusiCity Kids by mentioning things in the comments below. And I want you to even share with us your thoughts about Ruby Bridges and why she chose to go to that all-white school. What made her family do that? And you know, Ruby faced the problem of desegregation, sending white and black children to the same school rather than different schools. What problems are you facing in your big world? Are you facing some of that racism that Ruby faced? Are you facing bullying or hunger? What's going on in your community? And what can you do to make a difference? Think about that. All right, next, we've got a special word from our friend, Josh Mundy, about these times that we're living in.
Thanks, Tamara. This is Joshua Mundy here for another episode of MusiCity Kids Entrepreneurship. I haven't been on for a couple weeks. It's because I've just been really dealing with what's going on in the world. And it's really been weighing heavy on me because I am an African American man. And to experience or to see George Floyd be executed on national TV was something that I just have never experienced and wanted to just talk about. There is a heavy burden to carry, being an African American man, being African American in the United States. But one thing is for sure is that we can get through this together. We get through this by loving thy neighbor. The Bible states that and talks about that you should love your neighbor, no matter what they look like, no matter if they're black, they're white. We do one thing alike. We both bleed red. And if we show each other love, love conquers all. So regardless of the hate, regardless of our differences, regardless of all these things, love conquers all. And if you love your neighbor as yourself, that starts the process and that starts the healing process to bring us all together. Because one thing we are better together. And we have to fight the systematic racism that's taking place. We have to fight police brutality. We have to fight equality. We have to fight so many things together. And the only way that we can win this is if we fight it together. It's not a one-man thing. It's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's a together thing. And if we work together, arm in arm, to solve some of these challenges, I think we would get far in the world and in life. So continue to pray for us, continue to pray for this country, and we'll get back to talking about entrepreneurship. We'll get back to growing your business. We'll get back to all the fun things. What I want you to do as your homework assignment is, can you love your neighbor? Can you find some things that you all have in common and really, really tune into those things? Don't worry about the differences. Find those things that you have in common and love your neighbor. Back to you, Tamara.
So how can we make a difference in this big world? How can we show love? Well, we can give back to our community. And that's what this nonprofit organization based here in Nashville is doing for one of our areas in town called North Nashville. I want to introduce to you Gideon's Army. Take a look.
Clean y'all hand. Who here? Who need hand sanitizer? Here you go. See the winner. Where she at? Let's go. 4, 5, 6.
So whether it's giving food or helping with neighborhood cleanup, find a way that you can get involved in your community. We need each other, especially during these days of the pandemic, civil unrest, climate change, the election, all the craziness. We need to remember that we are here for each other, and we're actually all on the same team, the team of humanity. Thanks, Gideon's Army, for all that you're doing for our friends in North Nashville. Now we have an art project with Miss LaWanna.
Hey, Music City Kids, good to see you. I am working on a project that I'd love for you to work on with me today. And again, it's using something that's around the house. So I want you to check with your parents, see if they don't have an empty egg carton. Yep, egg carton. You're really gonna like this one. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what inspired me to do this craft with you as we go along, okay? So let's get into it. Okay, you got your egg carton, construction paper, paints, and your paintbrush and your scissors. We're gonna cut out a section of the egg carton, 3 to 4 sections, keep them connected, and just cut down the middle and start trimming out all that extra. We just want to trim down to just the cup area thing that where the eggs actually sit in, okay? All right, so we're gonna paint each one of these a happy bright color. You choose whatever colors you have, and we're gonna make a caterpillar. Yeah, a multicolored caterpillar. Now, the thing I love about caterpillars is that they are really neat, cool looking. Some of them have stripes, some of them have dots and speckles. Some of them are multiple colors, more than one color, 2 colors, sometimes 3. And so the other thing I love about them is that they turn into butterflies. I think butterflies are the cutest, happiest insect on the planet. They are so neat. And my favorite butterfly is the monarch butterfly. Now, you may or may not know, but the monarch butterfly is the only butterfly that can fly long distances. In other words, it can fly like from state to state. In wind, in the rain, something so delicate and little like the butterfly can fly that far. And I think that is such a cool story. So I love that about the monarch, and I kind of have decided the monarch is like a representation of me. I'm delicate, I'm pretty, but I can do things that are hard, and I can come out a winner. So I'm tracing out some circles, and as you saw, I did go ahead and cut out a strip of the green and then curl up the ends, and then I put them onto my egg carton with some craft glue for the caterpillar's antenna. And these are, of course, his eyes. So I'm going to make some big friendly eyes for my caterpillar. I want him to look kind of whimsical. And there you have it. Back to you, Tamara.
Here's a word from Dr. Don and Chuck.
Hey, Music City Kids, Dr. Don here with my friend Chuck. And we're continuing our discussion today on healthy skin. And we've talked about our different vitamins, A, C, D, E, and also our fatty acids. We are going to talk about our minerals now. Now, one of my favorite minerals, this is a real short one, selenium. Selenium is a really important mineral for our skin. Now, there's a structural protein in our skin called keratin. Now, the selenium will actually activate certain enzymes in our skin that help protect the skin itself. It also helps, but also in that the selenium will help protect against oxidative damage. That's like if you get sunburned, if you get chemicals that are cleaning supplies that are around, our skin doesn't necessarily like all that. So it does help protect those things, protect our skin and keep it from being damaged, and protect damage and repair the damage. Really easy source. The best source is Brazil nuts. It's pretty easy. I hope you like Brazil nuts and you don't have a nut allergy, because Brazil nuts are the #1 source for selenium, period. I actually use Brazil nuts with patients that need selenium because we can actually use it with food, and it's a high source in the food. You can actually get your required daily allowance with around 2 or 3 nuts a day. If you're not getting it from other sources, which honestly, we're talking about micrograms, tiny amounts that are required. But 2 to 3 Brazil nuts a day will give you your proper amount of selenium to help protect your skin. It's really easy, simple one today. So we got one more to talk about. We'll do that next time, but until then, thanks for playing, and back to you, Tamara.
Now we've got By Kids for Kids with some ideas for how you can give to your community.
Hi, I'm Josiah.
Hi, I'm Justice.
Hey, I'm Jessica, and we're here with Love in a Big World, and we're going to talk to our friend Olivia about what she does with Hugs.
I started the organization called Hugs, which means Help Us Give Shoes, as a 9-year-old kid with a big heart and a dream to make a difference. Since then, we've collected 100,000 pairs of shoes, and our shoes have gone to 13 countries in 6 continents and all over the United States of America. Through Hugs, I've been blessed to see a lot of really cool experiences by personally going earlier this year to the streets of Nicaragua in a poverty-stricken town of Leon, and being able to sit with those kids and put shoes on their dirty feet and be able to talk to them and get to know them, and to see their faces so happy and their hearts so big even though they had nothing, because now they had a new pair of shoes, Zapatos. Our latest move with Hugs is we're starting an orphanage in Rajahmundry, India. We have our 5 kids ready to be housed. We have a pastor over there who's going to be watching them all night and all day. And we have our 4th word home family, which is what the orphanage is going to be called. And that's Hugs.
That's so amazing, especially since you've taken your experiences that you've even got to have shoes and giving it to all those that don't have shoes.
It's been an awesome journey.
It's amazing.
And that's how you love in a big world. By Kids
for Kids.
Today we've been talking about how we can love in a big world, how we can be changed by love, and how we can make a difference in this big world around us by choosing to love. That means we've got to put love into action. So whether it's getting involved in your neighborhood, your city, your state, or something national or international, do what you can to make a difference. We're all in this together. And we have to work together to ensure the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all, like we talked about in the Declaration of Independence from 1776. Now, here's another statement from the United Nations Charter. This is from June 1945. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood. We've got to have each other's backs, friends. So be sure to do what you can to put aside arguments and instead be kind and tender-hearted towards one another. We're all we've got. And we've got to do our best to love in a big world. So remind your parents to get out and vote. We'll see you next time here on Music City Kids, where we want to help you grow strong in mind, body, and heart. Make it a good day. See you later.